Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Threezero Transformers Rise of the Beast DLX scale figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking an early look, thanks to the folks over at Threezero, at Mirage and Noah. Mirage, one of my favourite characters from the movie. I could not be more excited for this. Even though I've got to send this production sample back to them after the review is done, at least now we'll all know what to expect when our pre-orders come in. If you're heading down to the description, I've popped a link to Threezero's site down there, and also why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Transformers content goes live. I'm so happy they're letting me do this. Seriously, a huge thank you goes out to the team over at Threezero. As for the box art, it's just busy enough to look fantastic. Red Transformers logo, lens flares, different colors, Rise of the Beast logo, Mirage's holograms in the background. Then I believe these pictures are of the actual figures, not CGI renders. This video is brought to you by JustinsCollection.shop, the home of the figure first aid kit, as well as other accessories to help your collection be the best it can be. The first aid kit contains multiple tools to help you with maintenance, styling rooted hair, and much more. We also sell crotch grabbers, soft rubber tips to prevent damage, and they're compatible with most modern Hot Toys base molds. Acrylic risers come in multi-packs. They're optically clear, thick and sturdy, and stackable. Check out the link to JustinsCollection.shop in the description. On the side of the box, look at our boy. He's got all of his lights turned on. Can't wait to try that out for myself. Then his name in the background. Going with this blue glow effect for most of the artwork behind Mirage just helps him pop. I mean, if you think about it, this is sort of a two-pack, because you get Mirage and Noah. Noah's name isn't printed anywhere on the box. Mirage gets top billing as he should because he's the biggest draw card here, but there's images of Noah dotted around the place, including on the other side of the box. I'm very curious to see what's going on with him in terms of articulation. Around the back, dig this shot of Mirage smiling, then an Autobot symbol, and at the bottom, warnings and legal information. Now, in typical Threezero DLX box fashion, you can open the front flap held in place with Velcro, Autobot symbol, as well as an open window showcasing Mirage, Noah, and all of their accessories inside. Oh, here we go. First in-hand impressions for DLX scale Threezero Mirage. So far, so good. Decent amount of weight to him as to be expected, but he's a little bit bigger than I thought he'd be. We'll dive in deeper on that later on. What we're going to do now is get all of their accessories laid out in the light box, because yes, Noah has some accessories, and take a closer look at everything they come with. Starting off with the display base first, and you know what? Kudos to Threezero for keeping this base mold consistent. Ever since the first DLX figure came out, Bumblebee from the Solo movie, this is the base we've been getting, so if you've collected the entire line, all of their bases match. Heaps of sculpt work up top. They always change the color of the logos to match the figure the base is paired with, this time blue for Mirage. And there's a multi-jointed flight pole arm up the back. You can move it forward and back, then use this little switch to lock it in place. Telescopic arm up top. And the bit that connects to Mirage, you can pull it out, adjust the position of it, push it back in, lock it in place. There is, however, one new addition. This Autobot symbol, held in place with a magnet, this entire front strip is magnetic, you can put it anywhere you want. This is the activation switch for the light up effects. So it not only is a neat Autobot symbol on the front of the base, but it serves another function as well. We'll go through how it all works a little bit later. We'll also be trying out both of these faceplates later, but for right now, all you need to know is we get two different options, very nicely detailed. I mean, there's even teeth inside the open mouth sculpt right there. I'm leaning towards this one long term, but we'll have to pop them both on Mirage, then I'll see which one I like best. When it comes to weaponry for Mirage, twin arm blasters, classic live action Transformers style. There's different sculpt work on the inside versus the outside. These fins go on the outside for those wondering. Shiny metallic silver, gunmetal paint, this almost matte looking blue, still with a bit of grit to it, and black washes over the top. Both of these have light up effects activated by that Autobot symbol. So the bigger arm blasters, they're for Mirage. The smaller ones and the blades, they're for Noah. Once again, we'll try these out, but different sculpt work on these smaller blasters versus the larger ones, and the color breakup is slightly different as well. It's not as though they've taken the larger ones then just shrunk them down. The blades feel a little fragile, so please be very careful when you're plugging them in. And lastly, a full array of hands for Mirage, the pointing finger ones. You can even see there's a gap between the thumb and the rest of the fingers, and I'm loving the paint applications with that shiny silver plus the pitting over the top. Then we've got some fingers splayed out open palm ones, 2 closed fists, then 2 more pointing finger-ish hands, but this time with the thumb sticking out. What we're going to do now is get Mirage himself out here. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that yet. Wait till the end of the video if you want to see some sick poses. I promise it will be worth the wait, but with him just rotating around in front of us. Threezero, take a bow, my friends, because what you have delivered is peak DLX Mirage, diecast content, engineering, proportions, paint apps. Weathering is included in paint apps, but weathering is a standout, and light up effects. Way more light up effects than usual. Y'all have sat down, thought about how you can improve on an already stellar DLX line, and you've poured everything into this Mirage. I can feel the love that went into this, and it has paid off in spades. This figure is so freaking good. I cannot wait till I get mine in hand so I can pop him on the shelf. Up close and personal, kicking things off with Mirage's head sculpt, the LEDs in his eyes and chest, plus the first of 2 faceplates. This one is my favorite of the 2, but we'll get there. I still cannot believe there's sculpted teeth inside the mouth there. That is some crazy attention to detail. The standard faceplate isn't quite as expressive as the other one, but it still oozes personality. That is Mirage to a T. He's got a subtle smirk going on and a black wash in almost every single one of the sculpted crevices, plus over the top of the flat sections as well. You can see that speckling, that very subtle pitted look absolutely everywhere. Gunmetal paint for the sculpted detail underneath the blue panels, and it's an asymmetrical design for the head sculpt, with the top section being slightly wonky, which is movie accurate. I never noticed this in the movie, but all of this sculpted detail up top, it comes across as though he was blasted in the head and one of his panels have fallen off. And then this thing around the back, you can move it up and down. It's a softer PVC plastic, so even if it gets caught on everything else that's going on when you're moving the head around, you shouldn't snap it. His eyes are fully detailed with the mechanical aperture look, the pupils and irises and whatnot, typical Michael Bay Transformers style eyes. It's just that on camera, because the LEDs are super bright, you can't really see any of that stuff. In person you can, it's just an on-camera thing, don't stress about it. Let me know what you think about the magnet Autobot symbol activation method for the LEDs. I don't mind it. But I also don't mind integrated buttons. If, like, the head crest was the switch to turn on the LEDs, like what they usually do, that would have worked just fine. But then again, even though you've got to keep track of this, it allows them to get a lot more complex with the light ups. The chest one, that was always on in the movie. The shoulder lights, they weren't, but still, I appreciate them giving us the option. These are separate little pieces you have to install, insert button cell batteries into. You don't have to disassemble them to turn the lights on, you just wave the Autobot symbol in front of them. Okay, we're not done with the head sculpt yet. Time to install the other faceplate, I think. This is a surprisingly versatile faceplate. I thought it would only work for the fist bump pose or something with Noah, but depending on how you tilt it, you can alter the expression. Down, he looks slightly more serious, tilted back, then he's smiling, he's laughing, whatever. I'm going to be displaying him with this faceplate on 100% of the time. Let me know down in the comments which is your favorite of the 2. Back to the stock faceplate. I quickly want to mention this panel. It does affect the way the head sculpt looks depending on where you leave it. If you bring it up, his neck is longer, his head sculpt is rounder, or if you bring it down, it fills in that void on either side of the neck. It makes his head look more in proportion with the body, so for me, I prefer to leave it down. Look, it's a lot to digest, visually speaking. It always is with these live action Transformers designs because there's suspension springs and there's pistons and hoses and cables, visible car parts absolutely everywhere. There's even dirt and grime on the tread for the tires, which are rubber, and you can rotate the wheels. Then they're on ball joints, you can tilt them. There's a black wash around the front, no Porsche logos. They have sculpted in a dot on the fifth wheel nut as though that's the security one. With European cars, you normally need a key for one of the wheel nuts so that people can't steal your rims, and Threezero, they've even done that for DLX Mirage's wheels in this scale. Even for the taillight sections, these reflectors, translucent tinted plastic, red and orange, they're clear with metallic silver underneath, so light passes through, adding some actual depth. Then these panels, they're on hinges, so you can bring them forward, so you can have his arms come round if you've got him in a dual blaster pose. We will install the blasters in a second. I never noticed the asymmetry in the movie, but on this forearm, we've got a little piece that can move, whereas on the other side, different sculpted hoses and other bits and pieces. There's some pops of yellow on his ab section, some more hoses with dots on them, springs. It's literally just spot the visible car parts. Brake discs on the outside of his legs, on the inside more pistons, then the ribbing up front. If you know what all of these parts and pieces do on a Porsche 911, where they're located, just let me know down in the comments. This fan up front, I wish that could spin like the YOLO Park one. Does it need to? Absolutely not. At least it's well painted. But the wheels down here, they do spin. They spin very freely, in fact, on both sides. And we've got weathering in the tread for the tires. They're rubber tires, just like the ones on his back. But it's a thicker, sturdier vinyl versus just a natural, super soft rubber, so I don't think these are going to crack over time. At least I've not had that issue with any of my other Threezero Transformers. These side fins stick out. They sit proud of the surface for his quite long, sleek legs. Detail on either side, down the front. Even some fully sculpted tread. Now, I thought at first in the movie his knees were gold. The YOLO Park figure, they went gold for their release of Mirage, but I've checked reference, I've watched Mirage's scenes from Rise of the Beasts again, and no, his knees were actually silver, so this paint job is correct. Now, this is interesting. DLX has always sort of been its own thing, its own undefined scale, but I thought I'd compare this 1/24th scale vehicle mode version of Mirage, the diecast model of it, to DLX Mirage, and would you look at that? The wheels are almost the exact same size. So we've sort of now got an official scale for DLX, it's 1/24th. That means if you're a fan of these diecast model cars, they're normally made by Jada Toys, they will be in scale with your DLX figures. To install the arm blasters, easy as. Just remove the forearms, keyed so they only go on one way. Same thing with the arm blasters themselves. Popping this on. I was surprised that this top panel could move, but for articulation, they have made it a separate piece that you can move around. Then, Autobot symbol magnet remote, waving it in front of the blasters. LEDs will turn on. I'm going to display my Mirage with both blasters because why the heck not? But removing this, just as easy as installing it. Then you can bring the forearm back on, plug it in place. Every surface is so jam-packed with detail. No matter how long you look at this, you will be spotting new stuff and you'll be finding more bits and pieces that you can move. We need to move on though, so around the back, the butt plates, they're articulated. And you can remove this center one, wedge your fingernail underneath it. That's where you connect the flight stand. I was not expecting to love this mini Noah as much as I do. You get a lot of the same sculpt detail as Mirage, just a lot smaller in this compact little package. Metallic silver paint apps, nice and shiny. A lot of gunmetal. And we've got the metallic blue, plus black washes over the top. and the metallic red tail lights up front. But the visor is translucent plastic. I'm not sure if you can see that. There's a little Noah face behind it. I assumed, based off the prototype, that the visor would just be opaque, glossy black painted plastic. That way they wouldn't have to go to the effort of putting a face underneath there, but they did. And while the likeness isn't perfect to Noah, I mean, it looks like him from a distance when you catch a glimpse of it. It's not fully translucent. It's kind of darker towards the top than the bottom, and I think they get away with not painting the eyes because of that. I mean, what are we talking about here? Likeness on a head sculpt that's underneath a heavily tinted visor that's a bubble lens, and it's smaller than my thumb, smaller than my pinky. So it gets a pass from me, like I said. There's a lot of hidden articulation. He's surprisingly seamless looking, except for maybe these. The only visible ugliness on the entire piece, the peg ports where you plug the arm blades into. It's a secure fit. You can hold the entire figure from them. I'm just going to leave the blades on there because, let's be honest, he looks cooler with the blades anyway. Installing the blasters, quite tricky because the forearms plug in super securely. I would suggest heating up the forearms first before you remove them. So with my Noah, one arm blade, one blaster, this going to be my setup. For a quick side-by-side comparison, Rise of the Beast Mirage, Rise of the Beast Optimus, they look bloody brilliant standing next to each other, as I assumed they would. I thought Mirage was a hair tall at first when I unboxed him, but now seeing him next to Prime, scaling actually looks about right to me. You see, this right here, I think Bumblebee is too small. In the movie, Bumblebee was taller than Mirage, still way shorter than Optimus, but in DLX scale, Bumblebee is around the same height as Mirage. Not enough to ruin anything for me scaling-wise. In the right poses, these two figures, they're going to look just fine, posed up next to each other. So, yeah, this has been my stand-in Mirage, the YOLO Park AMK Pro one. Still good, but the paint applications, they're nowhere near as accurate. The gold knees, now I know for sure, they're not meant to be gold. Threezero takes the win there. More light-ups with Threezero, sharper detail, better proportions. If I was picking between the two, yes, Threezero's is more expensive, but it's 100% the superior Mirage. You see, this is why I love non-transforming Transformers. Hot take, I know, but there's no compromises. Perfect proportions, light-up effects, crazy engineering, weathering, stunning paint apps. Then you can get a vehicle mode that's completely clean. There's no weathering on it. When Transformers transform in the movies, they go from clean vehicles to heavily weathered robot modes. So no matter how good the engineering is for a transformation, neither mode is going to be 100% accurate, and then you'll have hinges and panel lines and stuff all over the place in vehicle mode that's simply not supposed to be there. Don't get me wrong, I love my transforming Transformers, but let's be honest, when it comes to accuracy, you really can't get much better than this. Just quickly bringing Prime back in, here's Noah, scaling next to both Optimus and Mirage, looks pretty good to me. Going over articulation, Mirage is jam-packed with little bits and pieces that move out of your way for maximum range. You'll see what I mean. Starting off with his head sculpt, ball joint at the base of the neck, double ball peg underneath the head, looking forward to there, looking up to there as this piece moves for a little bit more back, swivel, and tons of pivot side to side. This whole shoulder pad assembly is on a hinge. It can move around, including the headlight. Then his arms will go up to there, forward and back, being mindful of all of this stuff. There's some collision. Butterfly joint at the shoulder that hinges up and down. Swivel at the bicep, double bend at the elbow going past 90, then for the wrist peg, it's a ball joint. This is a perfect example of what I was talking about. These two front chest pieces, they're on brackets and hinges. You can move them out for more range. There's a midsection joint and a waist joint crunching forward to there. More spinal column detail reveals itself as you do that. Going back, less than forward, but still some. swivel, and some pivot side to side. Articulated butt plates, then side hip discs can flare out, dropping the legs down. You can see this leg is sitting a little bit lower than the other one now, going forward to there before we get some collision. Going out to there, swivel at the upper thigh. Single bend, I believe, at the knee, but it goes past 90. Then a series of joints for the feet, good for forward and back rotation, ankle tilt, and lastly, toe articulation. Moving on to Noah. He might be little, but there's heaps of articulation packed in. Starting off with his head sculpt, double ball peg underneath it, good for forward and back rotation, as well as some pivot. These bits can move out of the way of the arms on ball joints, then the arms themselves, I think, ball joints as well, going up to there, forward and back, and you get some tilt. Swivel at the elbow joint, single bend getting you to 90, then for the wrist peg, it's a ball joint. He's even got ab crunch, for crying out loud. Ball joint at the hips, good for forward and back rotation, and plenty of tilt. Oh, Threezero, you are spoiling us. Drop down legs for Noah, going forward, going out to there. Back is a little bit more restricted. There's swivel, but it mostly comes from that hip joint. Double bend at the knees, getting you to 90. And then double ball peg ankles, good for forward and back rotation, as well as ankle tilt. Wrapping up on Threezero's DLX scale, Rise of the Beast Mirage, this figure is exceptional. The sculpt, paint, light up effects, while I wasn't sure about the magnet at first, and I'm going to miss the button integrated into the head crests, the magnet just works. It's simple, it's effective, it stores on the base the little Autobot symbols, so that's a win, and everything else is just smooth sailing, as it always is with Threezero. Engineering, paint apps, durability, die-cast content, they've considered every little detail. This is now one of my favorite figures in the entire DLX line. That's including the Bumblebee movie stuff and the Michael Bay figures. Seriously, he is that good. If you're on the fence, if you're thinking, oh, maybe I don't need Mirage, but you loved him in the film, this figure has so much personality, you are going to adore it when you get it in hand. Because I do. It pains me to have to give this back to them, but sending me out a production sample so that I can be the first in the world to review it, huge thank you goes out to Threezero, and I am so hoping mine comes in soon, because this figure has only got me even more excited to add this guy to the shelf. If you'd like to do the same, I've popped a link to their site in the description. If you're heading down that way, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.